Dear students, this video is not concerned with T.Y.BSc class only, but also it is concerned with all the people or students who wants to know more about Pila globosa. In previous video, we have taken information about introduction of phylum Mollusca, then general characters and systematic position of Pila. Now in this video, we are studying habit and habitat of Pila. Its external characters like shell, operculum, and microscopic structure or cross section of shell and mantle. Pila is the generic name. See, Pila is the generic name, that is genus Pila, and globosa is the specific name or species name, that is species globosa, Pila globosa. As it looks like a globe. Do you know the globe? Pila looks like a globe, so the species is named accordingly, that is globosa. Globe is a rounded like structure, that's why globosa. Okay, let's start with habit and habitat. Pila is also known as apple snail. Do you know the reason behind? As because it looks like an apple shape, so it is one of the largest freshwater mollusks, commonly found in freshwater ponds, pools, tanks, marshy places, and rice fields. Sometimes it may occur in rivers, streams, and brackish water of low salinity also. Mainly, it prefers clean water and vegetation. Vegetation of plants like Valesneria and Pistia, which forms its food. Sometimes Pila feeds on dead animal bodies also. As you can see in this picture, this plant is, or this green part which you can see here, this is the vegetation of plants, aquatic plants known as Valesneria. See here, in water you can see the Pila. See Pila globosa, its food, aquatic plants. This is Pila globosa. This picture you can see here, Pila globosa. Its shell. This is Valesneria vegetation, and this is the Pistia. These both are the aquatic plants. Pila is amphibious animal adapted for life in water as well as on land also. Pila can live in water also, and it can live on land also. Why? Because it has the presence of gills for aquatic respiration. Due to presence of aquatic, due to presence of gills, it can live in water, and due to presence of lungs for breathing in air. So Pila can adjust with stagnant and oxygen poor water also. Let us see its locomotion. While moving from one place to other on dry places, it secretes slime substance, which makes its locomotion easy. Means what? If it has to go from a dry surface, it secretes some slimy substance. You can see here the I have shown by arrows. While it walks on dry surface, it leaves slimy substance, so that it makes easy to go from that hard surface or dry surface. As we know, for locomotion, different animals shows different organs or organelles like cilia, as we have legs and all. Likewise, Pila can locomote means from one place to another it can move with the help of large massive foot. It creeps very slowly with that massive foot. Now in this figure it is actually not Pila, it is another snail, but just I want to show you the slime layer, so I have used this picture here. Don't be confused. See, the Pila's foot is present on ventral side. Its movement is so slow that it can merely complete or covers about 50 millimeter in a minute at its full speed. Its speed is so slow. To walk or to move from one place to another easily over a hard surface. See in this picture, you can see over a hard surface or dry surface, it leaves a silvery substance or slime. It can swim in water also with the help of snout and tentacles. As you can see, you may have seen Pila shows, or we have already studied in the last video that Pila shows tentacles and snout. With the help of that snout and tentacles, it can swim in water easily. It can also float on water surface. It can easily climb up on aquatic plants also. In rainy season, Pila leaves ponds. पावसाळ्यामध्ये ती काय करते? तळ्यामधून बाहेर पडते आणि कुठे जाते? It goes in search of food and water on land. As we have seen before a few minutes, it is an amphibious animal. There are two terms. There are two terms, estivation and hibernation. Estivation means winter sleep and hibernation means summer sleep. Sorry, estivation is the summer sleep and hibernation is the winter sleep. Many animals show these things. Let us see for Pila. In this picture you can observe some things. See here. Again, these are the different snails. Just to explain the estivation and hibernation, I have used these pictures. See, this is the food part of this snail and it is sealed with some material, whitish material. Why? To protect the inner mass during this estivation period. Let us see what is estivation. During dry season, it is the dormant stage or latent life. During dry season, to overcome the drought, to overcome the harsh conditions, the animals goes for a long sleep. If they goes for this long sleep in summer season, it is known as estivation. If it is winter season, it is known as hibernation. Some frogs also shows these characters. Frogs also shows these characters. You can observe. Now see Pila. Pila undergoes in the state of latent life or dormant stage during dry season to overcome the drought. It gets buried in deep in the mud with its tightly closed shell. Tightly closed shell. This period of dormancy or inactivity is called summer sleep or estivation. During this period it shows anaerobic respiration. आता आपल्याला प्रश्न पडेल की ह्या सीझन मध्ये मग ती रेस्पिरेशन कसं करते या लॅटेंट पिरियड मध्ये, तर अनएरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन द्वारे ती रेस्पायर करते. ठीक आहे. When unfavorable conditions are over, it comes again from dormancy and starts its normal activities. जेव्हा तिला असं वाटतं की आता आपला ड्रॉट पिरियड संपलेला आहे आणि आपण आता बाहेर जाऊ शकतो, तर ती पुन्हा बाहेर येऊन तिची नॉर्मल ॲक्टिव्हिटीज सुरू करते. It is most active in monsoon because it is the feeding and breeding season. Monsoon मध्ये ही जास्त ॲक्टिव्ह असते कारण तो तिचा ब्रीडिंग आणि फीडिंग सीझन असतो. In winter again Pila undergoes hibernation. In winter sleep A long sleep in winter, it is known as hibernation. Winter मध्ये काय होतं, again pila undergoes hibernation or winter sleep by burrowing in the mud and come out from it in next rainy season. पुढच्या rainy season मध्ये ती बाहेर येते. Body of pila. See in this figure, here you can see the shell of Pila globosa. Here it is the diagram, it is the picture of Pila. See, body of Pila is soft and covered by body. This is the foot part. Body of Pila is soft, as we know the characters of phylum Mollusca. It is the phylum of soft-bodied animals. All the soft-bodied animals are included in the phylum Mollusca, and their body is covered with hard calcareous shell which protects the inner body mass. It is the exoskeleton of molluscans. Calcareous shell is a characteristic of molluscans as it protects the what? The inner body mass. This calcareous shell is secreted by the molluscans only. आपण त्यांना बाहेरून नेऊन त्या शेलमध्ये ठेवतो का? नाही. The shell is secreted by the mantle layer. There is a layer between their shell and body, over the body, inside the shell, known as mantle. That mantle secretes the calcareous shell. During locomotion and feeding, animal body extends but visceral mass remains inside the shell only. लोकोमोशन करताना काय होतं, ते विसेरल मास जे आहे ते शेलच्या आतमध्ये सुरक्षित ठेवलं जातं. Let us see some shells of mollusca and then we will go towards the pila shell. See in this picture you can observe so many shells. These are the bivalve shells. This is the pearl shell, or you might have seen this. See, these are the chiton shells. All these are the characteristics, structures of different molluscans. Shell of pila is somewhat globular. Now see this corner picture. Shell of pila is somewhat globular in form, about 60 mm wide. Color may be lemon yellow, brownish, or even blackish. It is secreted by mantle. Shell is made up of single piece, so it is called univalve. As see here in this picture, the shell is bivalve. Means what? There are two parts of a shell. From two parts it is made up, and so it is known as bivalve. In case of pila, the shell is, ही shell कशी आहे, अखंड आहे. It is known as single piece ने बनलेली आहे, so it is called univalved. Shell is also known as unilocular, that is undivided internally. Somewhat smaller in male than in female. Femaleच्या shells of pila, in case of pila, फिमेलच्या शेल कशा असतात, मोठ्या असतात, आणि मेल्स आर स्मॉलर than female. Shell of pila is elongated, hollow cone, closely coiled in a spiral manner around a central vertical hollow axis, is called columella. See here. This is the figure of Pila globosa shell seen from dorsal surface. Do you know the ventral and dorsal, meaning of ventral and dorsal? Okay. Now when we see from the upper portion, this is top and this is the base portion. It is spire. This part is known as columella. Columella is the central vertical hollow axis. It is spiral spirally round, coiled spirally. A single revolution of shell around the axis is called a whorl. There are 6.5 whorls in all. These become larger from the top to the base of the shell. See, this is apex of the shell. This is the shell of Pila seen from ventral surface. This is apple shape, you can see here. This is the apex of the shell. It is older portion of shell. Top of the shell is called apex. Apex is the oldest and first formed part of the shell. सगळ्यात आधी हा तयार झालेला असतो. It is oldest. आणि सगळ्यात टॉपचा असतो. From which growth of shell proceeded. इथून शेलची ग्रोथ सुरू झालेली असते. All the whorls except the body whorl are collectively called the spire. All the whorls in all किती असतात? 6.5 whorls असतात. ठीक आहे. whorls म्हणजे काय? एक राऊंड, पूर्ण एक राऊंड असा एक रिव्होल्यूशन. कसलं? एक रिव्होल्यूशन शेलचं. एकदा एक रिव्होल्यूशन झालं की त्याला काय म्हणायचं? व्हॉर्ल म्हणायचं. ठीक आहे. असे किती असतात? 6.5 व्हॉर्ल, 6.5 व्हॉर्ल्स. WHORLS व्हॉर्ल्स. तर हे जिथे व्हॉर्ल्स एकमेकांना कनेक्ट होतात, the connecting part or the line of contact between the adjacent whorls is called the suture. suture म्हणजे आपण याला आपल्या भाषेमध्ये जॉईंट असं म्हणतो, पण इथे आपण जॉईंट म्हणणार नाही याला. It is the line of contact between the adjacent whorls is called the suture. The surface of whorls you can see here, there are faint vertical lines. हे जे लाईन्स दिसत आहे तुम्हाला इथे, faint vertical lines, these are known as varices. अनेक वचन varices, एक वचन varix. Single असेल singular, it is varix. If it is plural, then varices. These are the lines of growth. Those which are prominent, ठळकपणे दिसत आहेत, त्यांना varices म्हणतात. ठीक आहे. Shell internally, from inside the shell, all these whorls freely communicate with one another. There are no separating partition between them. Body whorl opens out by large aperture or hole. आता हे जे आहे, हे मोठं जे आहे, हे दिसतंय आपल्याला मोठा पोर्शन. दिस इज बॉडी whorl. See from starting, this is apex of the shell. This is penultimate whorl. Suture is the part where the contact lines of the whorls contact. Okay, the lines of growth, these are known as varix. Then this large one is body whorl. In this body whorl, what is present? From inside the whole body present, पूर्ण बॉडी जी असते त्याची मस्क्युलेचर असतं, मस्क्युलर मास असतं. ते पायलाची बॉडी या बॉडी whorl मध्ये प्रेझेंट असते. हे सगळ्यात मोठं असतं म्हणून याला काय म्हणतात? बॉडी whorl. दिस इज umbilicus. Columellar lip. This is columellar lip. This is outer lip. This is mouth. What is mouth? See, body whorls open out by large aperture or hole known as mouth. The margin of mouth is called peristome. Peri means surrounding, stoma means mouth. लक्षात ठेवायचं आहे, peristome. The margin of this mouth, it is known as peristome. From this peristome, head and foot of animal can protrude. The columella, also known as central axis of the shell. Okay, you can see in this figure as we have seen in last slide. See, this is body whorl. Here very clearly you can see this is apex. Apex is the top portion, or from where sorry from where the growth of shell starts. Spire. What is spire? All the whorls collectively known as spire except the body whorl. बॉडी whorl सोडून उरलेले जे काही whorls आहेत they are collectively known as spire. This is suture. What is suture? Suture is the connecting part. और हा जो काही तुम्हाला जॉइंट लाईक स्ट्रक्चर दिसत आहे याला suture असं म्हणतात. suture or joint. जसं आपल्या ब्रेनमध्ये आपण म्हणतो suchers असतात क्रॅनियममध्ये, like that this is the suture connection. Okay, the columella, see in previous, this is columellar part, useful for attachment to the columellar muscles of head and foot complex. In next slide we'll explain this. Now see umbilicus. This part is umbilicus. Umbilicus is the part where columella opens below to the exterior by narrow opening adjacent to inner lip. The shells in which umbilicus present, ज्या shells मध्ये umbilicus present असेल त्या शेल्सला काय म्हणायचं? परफोरेटेड शेल्स और umbilicated cells. For example, in Pila it is present, so Pila is umbilicated shell. The shells in which this umbilicus is absent, they are called the imperforated or unumbilicated. For example, as in Triton. Now orientation. See again columella. This is spire. In previous slide we have seen what is spire. Spire is the structure or all the whorls except the body whorl, all the whorls called spire. Columella is the central axis, hollow central axis to which columellar muscles are attached. Now see orientation. Shells of Pila is coiled. It shows some characteristic orientation. You can see it is clockwise or anti-clockwise, spiral or coiled. See in this figure, जर आपण व्हेंट्रल साइडने पायलाची शेल ऑब्झर्व करत आहोत व्हेंट्रल साइडने आणि पेरिस्टोम आपल्याला दिसत आहे. ठीक आहे, पेरिस्टोम, वी कॅन सी दिस पेरिस्टोम and this is ventral side. जर कोल्युमेला कोल्युमेला म्हणजे सेंट्रल ॲक्सिसच्या उजव्या बाजूला दिसत असेल आणि शेल क्लॉकवाईज स्पायरल असेल, अशा शेलला राईट हँडेड किंवा डेक्स्ट्रल शेल असं म्हणतात. ठीक आहे, जर आपल्याला पेरिस्टोम दिसत असेल, पेरिस्टोम, इफ वी आर फेसिंग पेरिस्टोम and the shell is this, जर आपण व्हेंट्रल साइडने पायला शेल ऑब्झर्व करत आहोत. ठीक आहे, दिस इज द व्हेंट्रल साइड ऑफ द पायला and we can see this पेरिस्टोम, माउथ अपर्चर. कोल्युमेला सेंट्रल ॲक्सिसच्या, कोल्युमेला और सेंट्रल ॲक्सिस, जो काही सेंट्रल ॲक्सिस आहे ऑफ दिस शेल, दिस हे जे अपर्चर आहे हे आपल्याला कुठे दिसतंय? सॉरी, सेंट्रल ॲक्सिसच्या उजव्या बाजूला दिसत असेल आणि शेल जर क्लॉकवाईज स्पायरल असेल, अशा शेलला आपण काय म्हणायचं? राईट हँडेड किंवा डेक्स्ट्रल शेल म्हणायचं. डेक्स्ट्रल. If shell of Pila viewed from ventral side with the peristome facing the observer, if mouth lies to the right of columella and if shell coiled spirally clockwise, such shell is called right-handed or dextral shell. right-handed or dextral shell. In this figure, this is dextral, this is dextral, this is dextral. See, this shell is coiled. How it is coiled? Clockwise. See, sorry, this is dextral. The shells which are present at sorry, this is dextral. Again, this is dextral and this is dextral. Here it is dextral and this is sinistral. Okay. Most of the shells of Pila are dextral. Shell of Pila may coil anticlockwise, that is, when viewed mouth towards the left of the axis, such shell are called sinistral. Here, consider these two diagrams or these two shells. Here, this is sinistral or left-handed shell and it is abnormal. This is abnormal hereditary trait which is transmitted from one generation to the other, like eye color or hair color in human beings. This dextral, that is right-handedness in Pila, is dominant over sinistral, that is left-handedness. See operculum, the flat oblong calcareous plate which is used to close the shell's mouth or aperture is operculum. पायलाचं जे ॲपर्चर आहे, होल आहे, माउथ आहे, ते क्लोज करण्यासाठी ज्याची गरज भासते दॅट इज ऑपरक्युलम. इट ॲक्ट्स लाईक अ लीड प्रमाणे याचं काम असतं. इट इज अटॅच्ड टू द हाइंडर पार्ट ऑफ द फूट. It is formed by calcareous material. The glandular cells present in foot secretes the calcareous lead-like structure known as operculum. See the structure here. It shows some outline as of mouth. Mouthला जशा outlines असतात, same outlines as of mouth of shell. Shellचं जे aperture आहे त्याचे जे आउटलाईन प्रमाणे त्याचा शेप असतो, स्ट्रक्चर असतं. इट फिट्स टाईटली अ लिटल इनसाइड द पेरिस्टोम लाईक अ डोअर ऑफ अवर हाऊस. आपला घराचा दरवाजा कसा चौकटीच्या मापामध्ये असतो, लाईक दॅट ओनली इट फिट्स टाईटली अ लिटल इनसाइड द पेरिस्टोम. Like shell, outer flat surface of operculum also shows many rings of growth. You can see here the rings of growth. See these are the rings of growth. जसं आपण शेलमध्ये बघितलं की लाईन्स ऑफ ग्रोथ होते ज्याला आपण व्हरायसिस किंवा व्हॅरिक्स म्हणत होतो. And centrally placed nucleus is there. Inner side of operculum shows an area for attachment of muscles known as boss. See this inner side. This is the view from outside and this is the view from inside. इनसाइडला सेंट्रलला काय असतं, एक बॉस नावाचा एक एरिया असतो आणि त्याच्या बाजूला शॅलो ग्रूव असतो. इट शोज अ बॉस. इट इज अटॅचमेंट फॉर मसल्स known as boss and it is cream colored surrounded by a groove. It is surrounded by a groove. Okay, shallow groove. This boss is for attachment of muscles. It serves for attachment of muscles which can operate the operculum. What is the use of this operculum? To close the mouth. Let us know the structure of shell. See here, these are the shells and these are the operculum. See, this is boss and you can observe here the groove. Okay. Let us see the cross section of shell and mantle. It shows three distinct layers: periostracum, see, periostracum, ostracum and hypostracum. Means what? Periostracum, this is outer layer. This prismatic layer is also known as ostracum or prismatic layer, and this nacre, it is also known as hypostracum or mother of pearl. Let us see in detail. Periostracum. See first this periostracum. It is outermost thin layer. It is not calcified. It is not calcified. It is made up of homogeneous organic material known as conchicolin. Usually it is lemon yellow or it may be greenish brown. This layer protects calcareous layer from corroding action of weak carbonic acids in water. Second is prismatic layer, or it is also known as ostracum. These are the plates you can see here. These are the plates arranged. It is very thick layer made up of calcareous plates. What do you mean by calcareous? Calcareous means made up of calcium carbonate. As you can observe here, this diagram shows each plate is surrounded by protein matrix, due to which shell becomes strong. These are the calcareous plate, and this is the protein matrix due to which the shell becomes strong or it gets strengthened. Then third layer is hypostracum. This is the third layer known as hypostracum or nacre. This is the innermost layer. It contains again plates of calcium carbonate. Again it contains plates of calcium carbonate. These plates are arranged parallel to the margin of aperture. Each plate is present over a thin organic matrix. Each plate is present over a thin organic matrix, which forms thin lustrous sheets or lamellae. Which forms the lamellae. Okay. Beneath the shell and covering the body lies the thin skin, also called mantle. See here, this is the mantle. Where it is present, this mantle layer is very thin. It is present beneath the shell and above the body mass. Covering the body mass, it lies, known as mantle, which secretes the shell of the molluscans. This mantle secretes the shell. We have already studied about the shell functions in last video, how it protects the inner soft body mass and musculature. In next video, we'll see about the body of Pila. Till then, take care.